What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, they finally nerfed it, okay? They finally nerfed the event dungeon, and I'm not too sure if for a lot of people it's going to be like, well, a bit too late for it or not. But either way, they've made some serious adjustments, starting with blessings, starting with stats, HP, defense, attack, all of the crazy things that were able to basically absolutely obliterate your team, especially on stage 30. Currently, I am on the test server. We're gonna see how much of a difference it actually does now that they've actually made the changes. I'm quickly going to walk you through the changes to know exactly what to expect from it. So if we're gonna go over to their forum, they already posted the news in-game, but because I am on the test server, I'm not able to pull that thing off. As the second phase of the Chaos Awakes event kicks off in Raid, there's no better time to take up arms against the dark forces of Anatrad, something like that. Thanks to brave coalition of fighters who held back Kurosa the Covetous' initial assault, and the grand arrival of Leminisi, the Gold Wing. They make it sound like Gold Leminisi is gonna come in and, oh my god, she's gonna save the day, she's gonna absolutely whoop Kurosa's ass, and it's GG's, game over, Teleria wins. When in fact, poor Leminisi, she can't even go into that dungeon because Kurosa is absolutely going to dump her like never seen before, right? Interesting though. The demon spawn invasion is beginning to crumble, with her forces in tatters and her own power slowly ebbing away thanks to Leminisi's repleasant presence. What can I say? So is that the reason why they nerfed it? I start to believe that they had this plan from the very beginning. I think they knew exactly what dungeon they are bringing into the game. I think they knew that it's going to be way too hard. I think they tried to basically make the Whales Krakens feel like they have a challenge as well. And then, which is not bad, is not bad from a different point of view, right? And then they make it sound like poor Leminisi is gonna come in here and save the game and absolutely demolish all of the demon spawn forces. And she saved the day. She brought in the nerf onto the boss, right? At least they tried to make a story out of it, right? But either way, they nerfed it quite a bit, the dungeon, right? We've rebalanced the difficulty of stages 21 to 30. So don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Now, they're not really giving much information in here. I do have slightly more information in the Discord. So basically, what they've done, guys, they've changed some of the blessings too. Let me just quickly try and pick that up for you. So the difficulty has been rebalanced starting from stage 21. We've made adjustments to the stats of the boss and the enemy team champions and changed the blessing of Kurosa from Ward of the Fallen to Brimstone starting from stage 26. Which, honestly, it is already much better. That freaking blessing was one of the main things that made this boss so OP. They are only changing the blessing from stage 26 upwards. Now on stage 25, you have Lightning Cage, which is quite a bit of a difference. I can't really give you the exact stats in what they've changed on these ads and the boss. One thing that I can tell you for sure is that the speed did not change on stage 30. The accuracy resistance levels, they did not change by the looks of it. I think they just dropped a lot their HP, defense, and attack, right? I think they've made some massive changes in there. One thing that it did not happen, they haven't fixed the passive on Vulcanos. So basically, guys, in any other game mode, it does not matter what game mode in Raid Shadow Legends, whenever you kill a champion, his passive disappears. His passive becomes irrelevant because the champion is dead. He cannot proc his freaking passive, right? And that's what happens everywhere in the entire game, except this game mode. So the boss is still able to block revive on your champions if they have HP burn, even if Vulcanos is dead, right? So they still haven't fixed that problem. I think that is a bug. That's something that's supposed to be fixed in the first day of the release, not after all this time, we still have that thing going on in the game, right? Then, of course, what can you expect? I'm not going to go more into details because it is pretty damn pointless. What I want to see is if this team will be able to get the job done easily without a problem on stage 30. One good thing is that if you do not have that 6-star seer, you can definitely lower her stats in terms of damage because the enemies are much squishier now, which means that they are going to die much easier than before, right? The next thing is you do need to pay attention to that Brimstone. Now, I tried to do a couple of different strategies. Probably you guys are wondering, Skratch, why the heck is this freaking champion in the first spot? He should be on the backside, so his passive procs on the other ones as well. Well, initially, after doing quite a few runs, I've started seeing that Brimstone tends to land on the first champion that is in the lead, right? Because the rest will die. But after doing more testing, I've seen that that is not the case and was just my bad RNG while I had Geomancer in the front right there. So let me just quickly show you exactly what is happening here. I almost got to the point where Geomancer was soloing the boss. You see how easily Seer killed them now? Like crazy, crazy high damage. Way more than you actually need to do. So the other champions are dying, which is fine. It doesn't matter. Now, one thing that you really, really want to avoid, because even though they changed the blessing, Brimstone, it is a very, very nasty blessing. You want to make sure you are locking all the active skills on your champions except Geomancer's A3. So Vogot will only use the A1. Geomancer will only use the A3. Every time you proc an active skill, Brimstone will do damage. Every time you do not proc an active skill while under the Brimstone debuff, Brimstone will be completely irrelevant and will be just a show-off debuff that will do absolutely nothing. So as long as you are controlling that, you should be more than fine with surviving during this fight. Now, if you're not doing that, your champions will die. My team was constantly dying till I actually adjusted that. I did wanted to see initially if I am able to do that or I'm not, but I wasn't, right? Now that fear, it is a bit of a problem on Geomancer as well because it's not really making this run very smooth or very fast. But either way, they are getting the job done. I do think that the nerf and mainly changing that freaking blessing on the boss is making a huge, huge, huge difference, guys. Now, of course, this is probably one of the most popular teams. Big shout out to Farfstuff and Bronco. But it is much better now, especially the fact that you can kill the waves with a seer that does not require the craziest gear in the game, right? So that definitely helps a lot of players. The other good thing is that most of the stages got nerfed, starting from stage 21. So even if you might be struggling to have good regen sets, good defiance sets to get stage 30 done, you should be able to defeat a different, lower stage that probably would be something higher than what you were previously able to defeat. So that is actually really, really good. One of the main things to keep in mind, tomorrow actually we are going to have a Kurosa tournament that will give you fragments for the fusion. So regardless if you want to do it or you don't want to do it, if you haven't went through all of the summoning events, you might have to basically skip that. You're not going to be able to skip it, sorry, unless you went through the summoning events, right? But either way, they've made it a bit easier. Now, does this necessarily mean that, oh my god, Skratch, we're going to be able to create like 500 different teams with all of the different champions that we were not using in the previous teams? No, not really. That is still not the case. So let me just quickly check something. You've seen most of the time the Brimstone was landing on Vogot here, right? What if we are replacing that a little bit? So we're going to stop these do not use, and do not use. I'm still not sure why we have round 1, 2, and 3 for this content, but Doesn't really matter. Don't use, and do not use. Let's see if that Brimstone is going to land more on Geomancer than on Vogot this time around. So Vogot basically needs to be behind Geomancer in the slot because the other champions will die anyway. We don't really care about them. We want them to die because that will make the round faster rather than slower. So Brimstone on Geomancer now. It seems like whenever she uses the AoE to proc it, most of the times it lands on the lead. But it's not a thing that happens all the time from what I've seen. So we're losing Arbiter right here. That's fine. We need a Geomancer to put the HP burn. I actually changed the blessing on... You see the Brimstone back on Geomancer now. So because of doing this thing that I've just showed you, this might cause my team to fail actually right now. And that's mainly because when Geomancer is using his A3 skill, he will proc the Brimstone. So we lost Vogot this run, unfortunately. I'm not sure if we actually procced Brimstone too many times or it just happened that Vogot got obliterated. But this gives us a good idea if Geomancer does have the potential to solo the run. That's why I actually wanted to show you. So he should be using the A3 at some point. Of course, that fear will stop him from doing it every now and then. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise because he's not going to proc Brimstone. But that means that the run is slower. You see, the Brimstone actually does 21,000 damage. That is a lot of damage from a freaking blessing, right? We are still looking pretty decent. Like, it seems like the HP kind of like stays in between 50 to 70%, more or less. If we are dropping behind that, we are going to be in trouble, no doubt. So we are getting some healing there. Korosa is taking like 5 billion turns by the time we're taking one. Of course, having that fear proc and missing out the turn makes it feel like she's really taking a lot of turns. Okay. Lost that HP burn. Very curious to see if he's actually going to survive all the way to the end. Before, when I had him using the A2 skill, he was dying. So he was not able to solo it like that. It's very, very important when you're building your team now to keep in mind what that Brimstone actually does and stop from the presets the champions from using the skills that are not relevant. Like, his A2 would be relevant in here to steal those buffs from the boss. That means less damage. But while trying to stop smaller evil, we're gonna basically create a bigger evil by getting damage, the damage from Brimstone, right? Probably that expression doesn't go like that, but you know what? This is like a remix, okay? Think about it like that. So it seems like, yeah, without a problem, he is able to do it. So does that mean that we do not need Vogot in the team? Not 1000% sure about it, but I guess we could say it in a way or another that Vogot might not be needed anymore and a good Geomancer can do it. Now, I do have a pretty damn crazy build on my Geomancer. I will share it with you in a second. One of the main reasons why is because I am on the test server, so I had access to a lot of glyphs, high rarity glyphs. So I just threw them in the gear to basically get him a bit faster and all that, to get more HP than Vogot and stuff like that. But he is getting the job done if you stop his A2. If you allow him to use the A2 skill, he is not going to do this. So I'm quickly going to show you the builds. This is my Lydia, is what I'm using in the Chimera. This is my Arbiter. I just put her in there to push the Termiter. This is just to give you guys an idea that you can get the Termiter from Arbiter to make up for the speeds, okay? If by any chance you're not fast enough on your characters, pushing that Termiter with Arbiter will help you a lot, okay? That's why I've done it. And this is my Geomancer. I have a Defiant and I have a regeneration set, sorry. I have Pinpoint and I do have one Feral Pistol, which is attack, but that's the best thing that I had available on. He is too fast. You don't need to have him so fast. I did not realize that I got him as fast because I was upping the speed on Seer, and then I was like, oh damn, I need to make him a bit faster to be faster than Seer, so he puts the HP burn before the boss metamorphs. So 82k HP, 3.9k defense, 293 speed. 270 plus speed is going to be more than enough, especially if you're using Arbiter. Even 260 speed is going to be fine. The main thing you want to prioritize is having a good chunk of HP, decent defense. The boss does ignore a lot of defense as well. And 500 plus accuracy. You do need around 500 for stage 30. Now, of course, I do have a 6-star blessing on him, which will overall reduce the damage in this content. You guys know the drill. The bosses, the waves, everything deals less damage versus a champion with high blessing. I gave him Survival Instinct. Whenever the boss debuffs me, I'm going to gain Turn Meter, so I don't feel like the boss is constantly overlapping me every freaking second, right? Masteries, offense, support. You do not need War Master. War Master doesn't really bring you a lot of benefits. It does help a little bit to kill the boss faster, but if you're struggling with accuracy, I would go for Eagle Eye instead and gain that extra 50 accuracy. That's basically my Geomancer. Now, Vogot is on a triple Defiant set. I forgot to show you the relic. So I do have the Golden Elixir, and I do have the bosses deal 5% less damage to the wearer gemstone, which is pretty damn important as well. Now, this relic is at level 12. On Vogot, I have a level 6 relic. I feel like I should swap them around, to be honest. Triple Defiant, 78k HP. You do not need so much defense because, once again, the boss will ignore a lot of defense. So, anything around 4k is good, right? The main reason why we lost him there is because Brimstone was proccing, okay? You've seen on the first run, Brimstone was not proccing because he was only using the A1, but when Geomancer is using his A3, Brimstone procs. So that caused Vogot to take additional damage from where he was not able to recover because he's not on a regen set. And Masteries, seems like I have Giant Slayer on him. I haven't even looked at the Masteries, I'll be very honest with you guys. But that's kind of like what you need. Now, my Seer is pretty crazy. Ignore my Seer. She does have the Crushing Rend. I do not have a relic on it. If you don't have Crushing Rend, you might have the Cat's Gaze relic available. So use that instead. Now, the stats are very crazy in terms of crit damage because you do not need that anymore. Because of the nerf, somewhere close to 300 crit damage will get the job done either with Crushing Rend, either with the Cat's Gaze. Maybe even less than that. Or maybe I'm actually going to try it for you right now just so I give you the accurate information. What if I don't go in with Crushing Rend? I'm going to go in with a blessing that will not affect her actual damage, okay? The Masteries are these ones. I have War Master on her as tier 6. Let me just quickly make myself disappear for a second. I want to see if we can kill the waves without Crushing Rend. Maybe I'm talking rubbish. I do not have a relic on her either, okay? So keep that in mind. If we are able to do that, it's good. If we're not, maybe we need to bring in a different buff. A shield set on a champion like Arbiter could get the job done. Maybe we just need a little bit of additional damage. So let's find out. Still 1 million damage. No Crushing Rend, okay? You do not need a 6-star blessing for Seer to kill the waves now. I just wanted to check this for you guys. As you guys probably noticed, Incinerate will do absolutely nothing on her. Now, yes, her stats are pretty crazy, but if you guys paid attention, we dealt like 1+ million damage per hit. And I think the HP on each one of these enemies right now is somewhere at around 600,000. I don't think they have higher HP because they got nerfed, right? So a Seer without Crushing Rend, without the Cat's Gaze, similar stats with mine, probably still 300 crit damage will get the job done, as I've mentioned, because as you've noticed, we almost dealt double the amount of damage that we need to kill those enemies. Either way, guys, hopefully you found this video somehow helpful in terms of explaining you what changes you can expect in the event dungeon. If you enjoyed the content, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.